Sorry about that. So tonight we're going to share a story about this young lady, Samantha, who went on a date and things went bad. It's a real story, and we're going to break it down to see how we could have prevented that. We're going to share some red flags, and Eric and I will go through potential things that you could do to avoid a situation like this.
And I think we're going to make this into a series, right? I think we have like 10 or 11 like really horrible dates that we're going to go ahead and go over. You'll tell the story, and then we will break it down, and hopefully the audience as well will put in their 2 cents and give some good advice. And then we're going to repost this as a video and hopefully help other women and girls that are going out there on dates and don't maybe have the situational awareness that they should, or don't have the confidence probably, right?
Well, what we want to do is have everybody learn from these stories and from other people that might pose some stories on the chat. For those of you turning in, I'm Michelle. I grew up as an Army brat, lived all over the world as an Army brat, and then went to school for mechanical engineering, got my MBA, then I became an attorney. I did some fitness modeling here and there, and I went on my share of dates. So I have some stories that I could share and things to avoid if possible.
And I'm Eric. I was airborne, Ranger qualified. I was a counterintelligence for the counterintelligence agent for the United States Army. I also worked for DIA as an agent. I had a private investigation company where I did a lot of stalking cases, and I had that company and a bodyguard company. I had it while I was going to law school. I am an attorney now as well.
So putting the two of us together, you got the brains, the brawn, and some experience that will help to keep you safe. So let's go into, or just troubleshooting a first date. Welcome to Calculated Survival Live. Here we go. Let's start with the story. So we have Samantha. She was in her mid-20s, living in a big city. She matched with a guy on Tinder. Good job, seemed normal on chat. Funny in the text. And then, they chatted for about a week back and forth, and then they decided on a first date. Date was dinner. Everything felt normal and safe. So they went out on the date. The date itself went well. He was charming. He paid for the meal and walked her outside. It was late, and Samantha had planned on taking the subway, but calling her an Uber. He told her, "It's safer. Let me take care of you." And it sounded nice, so she agreed. Once in the car, Samantha noticed that the route was not heading towards her apartment, and he told her casually, "Don't worry, it's just a stop at my place for a drink. It's on the way." She tried to protest, but he reminded her that he already paid for the ride, so he made it sound like it would be rude not to go. The Uber dropped them at his apartment. She hesitated, but he pressured her again. "Come on, just for a minute." She went inside, and once she was through that door, the pressure escalated, and she was assaulted before she could manage to escape. Her story didn't end there. She reported him, and the investigators found out that she was not the only one. This was a pattern that he used. He used the ride shares to pressure and control his dates. So we're going to break this down. And Eric's got a lot of experience, so we're going to rely on his experience as well.
So I don't know if you guys seen that one character on, I think he's on Facebook, Instagram. I think he's all over. But he runs down the field holding a big red flag. And anytime he sees it, like in relationships, he waves it. I wish I had that red flag right now because there was a few red flags in this. So I'm waving my imaginary red flag, and probably we'll get one later on. First red flag, though, is control. This guy was absolutely controlling the ride. My guess is that he's probably controlling the entire date.
Sometime during the date, I'm sure there were indicators or words he used or actions that he would have indicated to say or control how she was acting, what she was doing during the date.
Right. Maybe it could be the food. It could be the drinks. It could be the conversation. He directed the conversation, whichever way. There's usually always indicators that somebody is being in a controlling manner. Here, I get it. He's a little bit more sophisticated. He's a little bit more suave. He
He's
didn't
got
just
practice, and that would show practice because it was very sublime, and it was at the end of the date, not like way in the beginning, not in the text on the back and forth before he set up the date.
right. Simpler guys, I think you see them coming. They're, and correct me if I'm wrong. I've never been on a date with the guy, thank God. But if from what I gather, they were more aggressive right off the bat of like, hey, why don't you come back to my place and everything else, showing their cards, and you have the ability to go, oh yeah, no. This guy here, he's like, he didn't go for that automatic kill of like, come back to my place. He literally tricked her.
Yeah, he waited till he jumped the surprise, so it was definitely not where he outright said, I'm going to do this to you. He kind of like let it play out and already decided where he was going to go. So
Right.
he really did have this planned. It was practiced. He had his lines already practiced because he had immediate response as soon as she said something.
Yeah. Now they're in the Uber. So
Okay,
now,
so let's do flag one. Let's start with like what was the first flag that stood out to you?
well, I mean, we're just dealing with the
You just want overall
with the article.
Okay.
Yeah. So but I think that there would have been flags throughout the day. The article didn't give it to us, but I'm going to tell you, he was given subtle red flags, and what we want to teach people is how to look and see those red flags. Here's a big red flag. As soon as he's in the Uber, he's saying, "Hey, let's get a ride home," and then he didn't ask her. He told her, we're stopping off because it's on the way home. That is a huge red flag. That's telling you right now, wait, this guy changed the plans. He didn't ask me. And he's probably waiting for what she says. If she would have probably been like, absolutely no, I'm not doing it and all this, he would have found his next mark. He literally would. Because
would have moved on.
he's looking for the weakest one, because there's plenty that will say that. And we want to make sure anyone tuning into our channel realizes, don't be that person. And a guy like this, as soon as you say, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. If he gets angry, you have an Uber driver right there. You're not alone. You could tell the Uber driver, I don't feel safe. He's not going to act up in front of that person. Soon as you get him alone, then that's going to be the problem, because there's nobody there. So that red flag was like, hey, I'm changing the directions. Just stop off at my place. It's on the way. I'm sure there's another bar on the way. I'm sure there's a Dunkin' Donuts, a coffee shop. Why don't we stop there? Why do we have
Somewhere
to stop
public.
at your place?
Yeah. Why is
Right.
it? Why is it a private place where you have no control and nobody around?
Right. So that was what I considered the first major red flag. Was that kid when he told the Uber to go straight to his apartment.
Well, that he ordered it for her. I think let's back up to like when they finished the date, and she was going to do her own way home, and he's like, "No, I will order the Uber." And at that point, she should have like, if she ordered her own ride, she would have had control of the destination. She would have had like this would have never gotten out of control if she would have kept control of where and how she got home.
Well, and that brings us to the second red flag, really.
Well, even if he insists on paying, though.
Well, yeah, but now that's giving her pressure. And I think anybody should feel like, if I feel pressure now, if I feel pressure to go back to his place, I feel pressure because didn't he pay for the dinner as well? I think that said
he did pay for the dinner.
Right.
Yes.
So this guy's paying for everything because he wants to put that pressure on her. And I think as soon as you feel that you have some pressure on you, you got to realize that this date is not going the way you want. And you know what? The guy could be a nice guy. Maybe you misread it, but that's why they make second dates.
Right.
Don't take all of those, the word I'm looking for, don't gamble on the first date when you can just wait for the second.
Don't put all your eggs into one date.
Yeah, I mean, if the guy's good enough, he'll stick around for the second one. But you could see that here. Then he pressured her to go upstairs. And as soon as he realized that she was caving into the pressure, he just kept going.
Well, he kept pushing. So, like,
Right.
it's important at the beginning, in the date, in the first date, while the conversation is happening, to set those boundaries. If it feels like he's jumping over your comfort zones or conversations or overriding what you say, if you say I'm going to get my own ride and he's overriding that that's a red flag. Like, that's telling you that he's not letting you stay in control of your own situation. He wants to control it. Stay firm and do your own ride. If he wants to insist on paying it, then he can Venmo you. You still control where you're going and who you're choosing to ride with.
So, and then you had the other red flag. I mean, there's in here that were pretty obvious, and I think you brought it up. He changed the where they were going mid ride. Now it's a bigger flag that he's going back to his place that
Yes.
is private and
I
no
think
one's
that
going to be
is
there.
his number one thing is he went from a public place to taking her into a private place where he doesn't have any eyes down, and she doesn't have anybody she can call out to. She's by herself in a location that nobody may hear her.
Right, and so if she really felt like she owed him, which she should never feel like it, if she felt like she owed him a little bit more time, I think she should have just said, let's go to another public place that's on the way then.
Right, stop at a public bar, coffee shop, any place that has people around, and she can call for help if needed.
Right. And then from there, she's now back into control of the situation, I believe, if she wants to take it. And she does not, the Uber's gone now. We're not saying Uber wait.
Oh, no.
So now hopefully she knows enough to go, let me call my own Uber to go home from here.
Well, yeah, hopefully there's been enough signs that she's like, okay, I'm definitely not going back to this person's apartment or private residence.
Now, it brings me to like, what should you do before you go on a date too? There's a lot of things you can do before you go. You should be able to check the person's socials. A lot of people, don't be afraid to text a little bit more, to have a conversation with that person, to make sure that they're just not love bombing you or just snowing you with what they want. I mean,
Yeah, but do you think you'd pick that up on a conversation, on a phone call?
you can pick that up in a conversation on the phone call.
Honestly, I don't know if this type of a control or this type of pressure would show up in a phone call. I mean, I've seen it where on the text for when you're getting on somebody on Tinder and they immediately wanted to sext and send pictures and go straight there. Like, okay, that's a whoa, slow down. Like, you need to go somewhere else. Like, that's way over pressure and that's not necessary. And maybe on a phone call you would see it, but what if they're very polite? What if they're just playing the game to just get you to that first date?
All right, so have you ever been on a date where the guy is paying for everything?
Well, of course.
Okay, and do you feel like you owe him anything?
No. It's an interaction. We're meeting for a first time. They ask me on a date. They're paying. If I ask them on a date, I would pay.
Okay, and let's say the date's over. You go to the parking lot. Are they expecting something usually from paying?
No.
No, they haven't expected a kiss or anything.
Oh, there's
else?
been times. Sure.
Okay, and what do you do?
Well, I guess it depends on the person and how you feel about the person. It's like maybe it depends on that vibe. If you feel like an attraction and you feel like you still have control, maybe a kiss.
Okay, would you feel inclined to do more because they paid?
No.
What if you're feeling okay about that person? They said, hey, why don't we go to another location?
Another bar? Sure.
Okay,
But it's public.
what if they want to go just hang out in the car?
No.
And why?
Well, because now I'm in a car, I'm trapped into a space. There may not be people in the parking lot. And the parking lots, if it's getting late, it's getting emptier. You're putting yourself into a situation and you're leading on somebody that you're not sure about.
Okay, so if you were this girl in this situation, she went out. Now, we don't have, again, the whole story, but we have indications that she might have thought he was a nice enough guy, but she wasn't really that interested because she was going home. She was going her own way. I'm not too sure there was a second date intention here.
Well, the story didn't give us that.
It didn't give it to us, but I doubt there was a second date intention because if it's a really good first date, people usually like to continue it on and go to another location.
Right, and then they
something else.
probably went their own separate ways. He's like, this is his last ditch effort to see what he could get out of the situation, and well,
So the biggest thing I see in this we see red flags, but I think the biggest red flag we see is as soon as he said he was going to call an Uber. All right, I don't know if he said, oh, I'm sharing the Uber with you and we'll drop you off. But then is when he changed.
I think
Changed
I
the,
think that's the turning thing that she should have realized and been concerned and changed courses where she said, "Okay, I'm in danger now, and I need to get out."
Now, what would you tell other women or even younger girls what to do in a situation like that or what to look out for?
So what are the three? So I have a few things
Okay.
that I think could help. Always share your location with a friend or a family member that you trust, and then set a check-in time. So if they don't hear from you about this time, like say an hour and a half into the date, just a check in. How are you doing? Is anything going on? It's a quick text. It doesn't really interfere with the date going on. And you can either say, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'll be home at this time. If you don't hear from me by this time, give me a call. Or you go to the bathroom and check in. But definitely do a check in time. And then keep your exit strategy. Always, no matter where you're at what stage of the date, always have an exit strategy and make sure that it's a safe way to get home.
All right, so we're going to be doing more stories like this?
Yeah, well, we're not, well, and we're saying this is not like Samantha's fault. It's about learning what predators do and how they behave so that you can see those red flags and those signs. And if you remove their tools, then you stack the odds in your favor rather than their favor.
Well, and what we talk about in a lot of our videos is what we call situational awareness. And for people that don't understand what situational awareness, I believe in it more than self-defense, because situational awareness means that you understand situations that are going on, you understand the surroundings around you because you're paying attention to them, you're looking at them. And the more you see what's coming at you, the more you don't have to defend yourself because you can walk away and you see the exits. I always say self-defense should be your last one, and that's because your situational awareness failed you. So we want to give people more situational awareness to look for on dates, on just when you go to a club or a bar or you're traveling or anything else, the things to look for to stay out of harm's way. I mean, basically, remove yourself from situations that you can see coming, but you have to see them coming, which means you need to put yourself in the right locations, not be distracted by your phone walking and all that.
But I think that comes from experience. I mean, we say we could, and going over situations and talking through them will give you an idea of things that could happen. But unless you've been in the situation, or if you've heard about a situation like this, would you ever think about it? Like you always are in that mindset. But a young person that's never gone through the experiences that you've gone through, why would they even think that that's something that they should be concerned about?
Well, then how do we get them into that mindset? How do we show them that they need to start thinking, because they can be one date away from having a bad Uber ride, a horrible Uber ride.
Horrible, yeah.
So how do we get young people or even older women that are dating? I know this happens to older women too. How do we get them to make sure that they look for these warning signs and become aware?
Well, I mean, I guess they're so happy to be out and dating. It's hard for them to shift into a mindset where they always have to be thinking of themselves and their safety, because they're hopeful and they're wishful for a good relationship. And you never want to think bad of the person that you're meeting when you're hoping that they're going to be the person that you are going to date.
So I'm not saying that you should always be looking for the worst in people, but I think you should have enough knowledge and awareness of what's going on to allow your gut to respond. And if you feel like something's wrong, act on
I'll
it then.
feel it, yeah.
Just act on it then. Don't let it ride. Act on it then, because there can always be a second date and you can look at it more. But I mean, I'm telling you, if the first date was really good, I think you're going to feel it. If you're starting to feel pressured, if you're starting to feel like they're playing tricks, or you just feel like, oh, this is a little bit off and you feel a little bit uncomfortable, I think it's time to go. Would that be your...
That would be my gut feeling.
So hopefully we do a lot more of these videos where we can actually help people get more knowledge to trust their gut and then go with and have the confidence to say, okay, not tonight, another day, right?
Absolutely, and we'll try to find stories that are commonplace or that you would run up against maybe in college or even out in like a conference. when you're running into colleagues and that. There's situations too. So we'll keep trying to find different situations for people.
And please, any of the viewers, if you know of one, send it in to us, and we will do a breakdown on the red flags and how to see these people basically coming and how to avoid that. We also have videos on what to carry on a first date. Also, for if you do need to go past the self or to situational awareness into self defense, and you reach that next level of what to do. So hopefully we can get a bigger following on this and shares so that we can educate more people about these types of actions that are going on and how to stop them.
Yeah, I would really like to have hear from women or even guys, the guys' perspective on this. Have they had a bad date with a woman and had it turned the tables on them? I mean, I'm sure it goes both ways. I have heard a couple of those stories too.
Yeah, I guess I'm just too ugly. Nobody ever does that to me. So.
That's possible. Very possible.
So we have another channel too called Calculated Survival. On that, we have a lot of wilderness survival, where we do wilderness and urban survival. And stay tuned more for your Calculated Survival RV channel, where you're taking them basically around the world. I think
We're going to travel, try to see places, know what we need to do in each of those situations as well.
All right. Well, I look forward to doing more of these.
Hope you have a great night and join us on the next one.